Wayne.
Is there one out there?
Good afternoon.
Good
Good afternoon.
At this time, I call the June 16th meeting of the Nash County Board of Commissioners to order. On behalf of the commissioners and the staff, I welcome everyone to the meeting. We begin our meetings with an invocation and the pledge of allegiance to the flag. For the invocation, you want me to start over, sir? Okay. Start over or continue?
He said, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't have my mic on. For the invocation, you're welcome to stand and join us, or you're welcome to have your own individual prayer, or you can use this time for a moment of silence. Commissioner Fred Belfield will give the invocation, after which I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Belfield.
All right. All right. Let us pray. Our Father, is once again that we assemble here in the name of your Son, Jesus, to just thank you for this day first. You woke us up this morning, clothed in our right minds, and blood running warm in our veins. We thank you. Now, Father, we're here to have our commissioner meeting, and it's the second one of the month. There are many challenges that we face. We ask you to be with us, give us that wisdom and knowledge that we need to make sound decisions that will be pleasing in your sight and also will help the citizens of Nash County. Bless us as we move forward. We know if we trust in you and lean not on our own understanding, everything will be all right. These blessings we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Would you join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we move on, I want to make an announcement on a few changes in the agenda. If you would note this. First, I would mention that budget amendments were emailed to the board over the weekend. I assume everyone received that information. If not, there should be a copy at your desk. Second item, agenda item number 5 is being removed for further review of the contract by staff. I don't know if Deputy County Manager Boone has any comments on that, but that's the reason we're removing it. I want you to add agenda item number 9A, Capital Project Ordinance, Closeout Middlesex Corporate Center Shell Building number 2. I want you to add, let me back up a little, say, agenda item number 9 has been revised, and I think you received that information over the weekend as well, to add the rural infrastructure grant information to that item. The fourth item is add agenda item number 10A. I'm sorry, add agenda item, let me get straight here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Budget Amendment 10A.
10A, okay, that's right, Budget Amendment 10A. Add that. You should have a copy of that at your desk as well. Does anyone have any objection to any of these changes to the agenda? So we've got agenda item number 5 removed. We've got agenda item number 9. Should be a copy at your desk. That was changed. We've got agenda item number 9A, which is the Middlesex Corporate Center Shell Building, and we've got 10A, which is a budget amendment. Does that cover it, Madam Clerk, you think?
Yes, sir.
Everybody good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so now we will move to agenda item number 4, which is a CDBG-NR grant 2024. Call on Grants and Intergovernmental Relations Director Emily Moore to present the request.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Hey, Emily.
See, Nash County has received a Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization CDBG-NR award of $1,655,000 from the North Carolina Department of Commerce's Rural Economic Development Department with no matching funds to rehabilitate deteriorated housing or replace dilapidated housing with new homes. Grant Administration Services. Nash County sought proposals for grant administration services to assist the county in management of this project in compliance with all applicable requirements under the NC CDBG-NR program. The approved project budget includes $165,000 for grant administration, and the fee for grant administration services will be fully paid with CDBG-NR funds. Grant administration services include standard tasks necessary for implementation of the project in conformance with CDBG compliance areas. Proposals were due by Monday, March 17, 2025 at 11 a.m. We received 3 proposals. Those were from KSBR, McNeil Financial Services, and McDavid Associates. Each proposal was evaluated based on qualifications, competence, and reputation of the firm, prior CDBG experience, qualifications of actively involved staff, ability to address local needs, availability, and cost of services. After thoroughly evaluating all of the proposals, it appears that McDavid Associates has the capacity and experience among its Community Development Block Grant project team to best assist Nash County with the implementation of this project in an effective and efficient manner. So our recommendation is for you to award the Grant Administration Services contract to McDavid Associates. This action would be subject to review and approval of the documents by the county attorney and county manager.
Any discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Howell?
This is for the repair of our citizens' homes. It is in dilapidated conditions in Nash County.
Yeah, now this one's, yes, it's a replacement program.
Okay.
All of these are actually replacement homes.
Okay. Do we know whether or not this contractor is going to be doing background checks on their contractors and subs? It may have been in there, and I just didn't see it.
I spoke with McDavid about it in the past. So McDavid, all of their workers are background checked, yes.
Can we just confer with the county manager and our deputy county manager when they get to the contract and make sure that that's in there, and also on the subcontractors as well, please? Since we're going to be in our citizens' home, just for safety protection. Thank you.
Other questions or comments for staff? Commissioner
Mr.
Wilkins?
Chairman, at the end on item 4, at the bottom, it says Nash County is an equal opportunity employer and invites the submission of proposals from minority and women-owned firms and other historically underutilized businesses. And just curious, were there any of those that applied? Or were they reached out to apply?
We did direct solicit. I'd have to go back in my files to see how many, but we did direct solicit, so sent an email with the RFQ to firms that were minority and female-owned.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for staff? Hearing none, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, sir.
Motion by Commissioner Howell, is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Davis. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Moore. As I mentioned, item number 5 has been removed, so we will now move to agenda item number 6, presentation on Juneteenth observance event. Call on Assistant County Manager Tia Fula to make the presentation. Good morning, Ms. Fula.
Good afternoon. I've been saying good morning as well. Good afternoon. I hope you all, as you came up to the 3rd floor, you've had an opportunity to observe or at least look at the beautiful display by our engagement committee at the end of the hallway. But this is about the Juneteenth observance event. Nash County's Engagement Committee invites all Nash County employees to join us for Juneteenth observance on Thursday, June 19, 2025, at 3 p.m. on the third floor of the County Administration Building, right outside here. Observed annually on June 19th, Juneteenth commemorates the end of slavery in the United States and serves as a powerful reminder of freedom, resilience, and progress. This year's observance will include a guest speaker, a historical display, refreshments, and a meaningful opportunity for reflection and fellowship. Employees are encouraged to wear Juneteenth-themed attire or colors to honor the significance of the day. County commissioners are welcome to attend as we recognize and reflect on this important moment in our shared history.
I would mention this is an informational item only, but are there any questions or comments for Ms. Fuller? Anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you all.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Move now to agenda item number 7, letter of support for T-Mobile grant for a mural on the side of the gymnasium at Nashville Elementary School. Call on the county manager to present the request.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have shared via email with the board information from art teacher at Nashville Elementary School, Carrie Morningstar, who is writing for a T-Mobile grant for a hometown grant from T-Mobile for populations of under 50,000. T-Mobile wants to support small towns across America by supporting community projects that would revitalize or repurpose a historical structure. They want to create a space that would add sense of space that could lead and to further the interest and build relationships within the community. Ms. Morningstar also sent me the application information for the grant. It is a project titled Small Town Big Spirits. They want to paint a mural on the side of Nashville Elementary School on the gymnasium wall. The project summary is that Nashville Elementary seeks funding to commission a large-scale community design mural on the exterior wall facing East Virginia Avenue. The vibrant artwork will celebrate the town's history, diversity, and educational values, transforming a blank brick wall into a lasting symbol of community pride for student creativity. The mural will be developed through collaborative workshops involving students, local artists, community members, ensuring that it reflects the unique spirit of Nashville, North Carolina. The Nashville residents and students will work alongside a renowned mural artist named America Calero. She will facilitate workshops and organize young artists as well as community members to commission one of Nashville's first hometown murals. We're going to take on the challenge of inviting 2,700 people to participate in this painting project so our town can be put in the Guinness Book of World Records. Nashville is a small rural town with a population of under 6,000 where public art is scarce. The school's exterior currently lacks visual appeal, missing an opportunity to inspire students and engage the community. This mural will serve as a daily reminder of shared values and aspirations, fostering a sense of belonging and pride among students, staff, and residents. The project's goal and impact, Ms. Morningstar shared, I would like to enhance our community's identity by celebrating local culture, history, and diversity through this collaborative art project. I believe if I get students involved in the design and creative process, it will promote ownership within all participants. Transforming a blank wall into an inspiring visual landmark would change our community for the better. This mural will serve as a lasting testament to Nashville's commitment to education, unity, and the arts. It was further shared with me that the mural design will feature the school's mascot, which is the cardinal, the bird, the red cardinal. Again, this is Miss Carrie Morningstar, art teacher at Nash Elementary School, has reached out for a letter of support from Nash County government as we reside here in the town of Nashville. And I have had some communication with the superintendent to see where the school stands on this project, and they are supportive of it.
Any discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Howell?
Is Nashville Elementary in the city limits of Nashville?
It's right in town. Mhm.
It is, isn't it? Just a question, have we run that by the town of Nashville? I know we had some issues. I talked to Jonathan, we were trying to get some new signs, directional signs put out in front of the courthouse, and also a lighted sign over there for the sheriff's department, and seemed to be kind of stringent on your sign issue. So how does the mural fall into the category of a
So
sign?
this is not a county project. This is the art teachers project at the school. That would be on them to work through the logistics of, I'm not sure what they've done legwork-wise to understand. They're just asking for a letter of support from us.
I don't have no problem with supporting something, but it needs to be run through the school board and make sure it's run through the town of Nashville first to make sure they're in compliance with the ordinances, doesn't it? Before we vote on the support for it. I mean, I'm just,
I believe that it's up to the board, whether you would like to support the project and let them work through the logistics of it. I mean, I don't know where they're at in their process, working through those logistics.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, are you done, Commissioner Howell?
yes, I mean, I have no problem supporting it, but if it were in support of it and it's against the ordinance for the town of Nashville, then it puts us in a position where we're opposing something. I just want to make sure that we're in support of something that's already been passed through the proper channels, that in other words, we can support it. That's all.
Commissioner Wilkins?
I was just going to say, as the county manager said, they're only asking for a letter of support. It is on them to get with the city and town of Nashville and explain their position. Our letter is only of support for the school and for them to do that. So I'm in favor of it.
Any other discussion or questions? Commissioner Belfield?
Well, I noticed that we were talking about people flying by with planes. That's a very dense area, and you wouldn't want, in my opinion, you wouldn't want planes to be flying that low, and I don't think for safety purpose, I don't believe they would. Now, they may have a photographer that could take pictures of it up from a higher level, but just to fly by to see it, I don't think that's a good idea. But I support it, but that's something they need to take a look at.
Other questions? Other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Leggett?
I have no problem supporting this. Thank you for bringing it to us.
Any other discussion or questions? Well, I've got just a brief comment or two on this. I don't have a problem with the mural, but I guess I'm kind of going back to some comments that have been made by this board about this board getting ahead of the School Board of Education, and I think that's what we're doing here. I think they've got a meeting tomorrow, and they could easily discuss this item and come to some agreement as to whether or not they supported it. And if we supported it today, we could support it contingent upon the school board supporting this item. I have no idea what the content of this mural might be. I'm sure it would be perfect. It would not be any problems at all. But I just got a real problem supporting a mural on the side of a building that I don't know what that mural is going to depict. And I got some information from the manager where it was stated that the school system fully supported this project. So I took it upon myself to contact 3 board members over the weekend, and 2 of those board members were not even aware of this project. They had no knowledge of it. The one member that was aware of it happens to know Miss Morningstar, so apparently she had reached out to him, and he made the similar comments to what Commissioner Howell had said, is that it would have to go through the town of Nashville and the content be approved and that sort of thing as far as their zoning goes. But I would recommend that if we approve this item, that we approve it contingent upon the school board's review and approval tomorrow evening at their special called meeting. And that would meet the timing for the grant that the young lady is seeking, which I think is June the 25th. And I'd open it up for comments or discussion on that recommendation.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Arrington?
I'd like to entertain a motion that would state what you said, that we are in support of the mural, as long as the Board of Education also.
Mr. Chairman, could you ask him to repeat? I can't hear him.
Well, Commissioner Arrington just stated a motion that reflects the comments I just made, that this board would support this letter of intent and provide it contingent upon the school board doing the same thing and vetting this information at their meeting tomorrow night. That's basically the gist of what you said, Commissioner Arrington.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Second.
Oh, hold on a minute.
I was going to second it, I'm fine.
Okay, so I've got a motion by Commissioner Arrington. Commissioner Wilkins, did you have anything else? I've got a second by Commissioner Howell. Is there any further discussion? Okay, so hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Madam Manager, have you got the information to share with the school board so they can do this tomorrow night at their meeting?
Pardon me?
You've got all the information to share with them for their meeting tomorrow night, school board.
I don't have any intention of sharing information with the school board tomorrow.
Well, how are they going to know what they need to do unless someone tells them that?
It was my understanding that you were saying that it was going to go before them tomorrow?
No. They've got a special call meeting tomorrow night. They're going into closed session for a personnel matter. The request from this board is that they be made aware of the request that they act on this item at their meeting tomorrow night, and then that would give us the leverage to go ahead and provide that letter.
I'll be glad to reach out to Dr. Ellis and let him know what the board's
Okay.
intentions
So
are.
if they don't act on it tomorrow night, then our next meeting is July the 7th, and it would be beyond the date for the grant that this young lady needs. So I just saw that as an opportunity to get it done and get the school board involved, which, in my opinion, they should have been involved in the first place. All right.
Mr. Chairman, before you move
Commissioner
on,
Wilkins.
at the end of our item, it says the county manager had communications with the school superintendent about the mural.
She did. I
So
stated that.
he does know about it, but just because, say, 2 or 3 school board members didn't, doesn't mean some of the others didn't either. But the motion has passed. I just wanted clarification for anyone listening that superintendent did know about this. And so whether it was relayed to the school board members or not from him, I don't know, but to clear the county manager, so, thank
Well,
you.
I'm not trying to put the county manager on the spot. When I spoke to one of the school board members, and I indicated that it had been noted that the school system fully supported the request, and I said, so you guys and gals on the school board are in agreement with, he said, well, what does the school system mean? It doesn't mean the school board. He said, no. 2 of these 3 members I talked to had no knowledge of it. So all I'm asking, and what the motion reflected, was that they be made aware of it. If they wish to act on it tomorrow night, that would give us the incentive to provide our letter of support based on what they do tomorrow night. So, Commissioner Arrington, any further discussion?
Well, Mr. Chairman, our motion said that we approve the mural contingent upon the school board also approving it. So we have approved it, and whatever they decide on, if they approve it, then we'll approve it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to agenda item number 8. Call on the Finance Director, Nikki Stanton, to present the request County Capital Project Fund Ordinance. Good afternoon, Ms. Stanton.
Good afternoon. Okay, a couple things today. The first one is going to be the County Capital Project Fund Ordinance. This is just a revision because we're going to do the senior center on a completely different project ordinance, and it was included on this ordinance. This is just revising it, amending it to take out the senior center expansion project from this project ordinance.
Okay, any discussion or questions for staff? Any discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Howell?
Yes, sir, Chairman. In regards to, excuse me, Section 6 on this, it states the county manager shall have the authority to approve incidental change orders up to $25,000 per account within the budgeted project. And I've just asked that this motion be added to this motion, that also it reflect the verbiage that's on page 6 under Section 11, which indicates that she does have the approval to do this, but this will be an official report back to the Board of Commissioners once that is done, just to be in compliance with our procedures.
Okay.
I think it was probably just left off when they put it in there.
Yeah, this was an older project ordinance. It was just amended, so probably.
Any further discussion or questions? Commissioner Davis?
I'm sorry, but I'm not quite caught up. Can somebody show me what item looks like that was left at our,
So it's just the budget ordinance for capital projects. It's got 3 projects on it. And so if you see on the middle column, the last column in the middle, it's taken out the senior center project.
It should be in your iPad, Commissioner Davis.
oh, it's on the iPad
Yes,
also?
sir. Agenda item number 8, I believe.
Well, item 8 only has one item on there. So are we removing the one item and we're left with not anything?
This is my item 8, where we're just removing this senior center expansion project.
So you are removing the middle item.
Yes, sir.
I'm caught up. Thank you.
You good, Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Any other discussion or questions for staff on this item?
Make a motion, we approve.
All right, Commissioner Howell, would you restate your motion, which you added some verbiage to it?
Yes,
That
I
was
make a
different
motion
from
that
the
we,
recommendation.
yes, sir. I make a motion that we approve with additional verbiage in there, which can be found in Section 11, number 6. One second here, I'm sorry. With an official report to the Board of Commissioners.
You got that, Madam Clerk? Yes, sir. Is there a second to that motion? Commissioner Davis?
I'm going to have a question when you get to that point.
Is there, did you second the motion, sir?
No, sir.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner
Mr. Chairman,
Wilkins.
can we just clarify that that's Section 6
Yes.
instead of Section 11?
Well, that's my problem. I'm
It's
not,
Section 11, number 6. to be-
Where are you on Section 11?
yeah, I don't see that.
Page 6 of our proposed.
You're in the budget book. Look.
It's the same,
One at a time. Commissioner Howell, you've
Yes,
got the
sir.
floor.
it's the same as it was our previous year in '25 as well. It's the same procedure we had last year. It's just been carried over into this year. I just used this year's book as a reference for the numbers, but the verbiage is the same. And it's section 11 on page 5, I'm sorry, page 6, section 11, number 6, and I'll read the entire statement if you like. The county manager may approve change orders up to $25,000 per occurrence with budgeted project with an official report to the Board of Commissioners.
All right, the attorney's got the floor now.
Yes, sir. If we could have the motion to reflect this capital project ordinance to be amended, for section 6 to be amended to include that language in the motion, I think that would be the proper procedure.
Okay. Can he put that in his
He
motion?
can, that's what I want you
Yes,
to do.
sir, that'd be fine,
Can you
sir.
make the motion to approve
I'm
the
coming.
capital project ordinance, amending section 6 to include the language and state the language? If you can do that,
I will.
that'd be great.
So I make a motion that we approve it with an amendment off of page 6, section 11, number 6. The county manager may approve change orders up to $25,000 per occurrence within a budgeted project with an official report to the Board of Commissioners.
Are you good with that,
Good with that, sir?
Mr. Attorney?
Is the clerk okay with that? Yes. Okay. Yes.
You've got the motion. Do you second the motion, Commissioner Davis?
If I need a second to ask the question, yes, sir.
You
I
gonna-
second the motion.
Yes, sir. We're going to open it back up for questions.
Okay, second motion.
But first, I'm going to go back. I think Commissioner Wilkins, you good?
I'm fine.
Okay, Commissioner Davis?
Is this what it should be in your mind, Madam Manager?
It's fine, yes. It's what I have the authority to do, but if I do it, if I have an opportunity to do it, he would like it reported to the board, and that's fine. We will do that.
Does our operating orders already say that? Because he's stating that it does.
Correct.
That is my question. Because I don't think this is the proper procedure to change one of our ordinances on the way you operate. It's not the right format. But if it's already like that, I'm fine with what Mr. Commissioner Howell did.
I would hate to say yes without it in front of me to verify that that's exactly what it says.
You got any other questions, Commissioner Davis?
No, but I have a concern with my second, but let's listen it out and see where we end up.
All right. Commissioner Arrington, I'll come back to you, Commissioner Wilkins.
Well, Mr. Howell, as I understand it, is pretty much stating what you've already stated in your budget presentation. It's the same section. He's just including that in this budget ordinance. It's the very same language that you...
Okay, well, I mean, he's reading from the budget book.
Yeah. That's right.
It is in the budget ordinance.
Right there. They just left off that last part. All right.
You done, Commissioner Arrington? You good? Commissioner Wilkins?
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to say where the confusion is coming in at, it appears Commissioner Howell doesn't have the item, our agenda package itself pulled up. And he was reading, as you said, from the actual budget. And we were looking at section 6 here on item 8. And now, he's pulling it up now, but that's where the confusion came in at, Commissioner Davis. And so he was reading, if we had known from the beginning, he was reading from his budget book. You follow me? We're on item 6, item 8, page 35, on the capital projects fund, and he's on the book. So that's where the confusion came in at. And I understand what he's saying. He's reading what should happen and wants to add it to Section 6, but that would have alleviated some of the confusion.
Any other discussion or questions? Commissioner Howell?
Thank you, Chairman. And I'm not trying to change or add anything, take away or add any responsibilities to the county manager. It simply looks like it's just something that was left off of this ordinance. And since this is an ordinance, I just want to make sure it's on there because it is a local law that's going to be put in effect. So, and I used the guidebook from this year as far as our proposed budget for 26, but the language that's in here is the same language that's currently in place to June the 30th of this year. The verbiage from this past budget that was approved hasn't changed what is proposed to be used and followed for this year. So I just had it there. But you can pull back from last year's as well. Just the last words were left off, that's all.
Any other discussion or comments? Commissioner Davis?
What it boils down to, Mr. Howell, is you're asking a part of her operating procedure for our county manager to be put in a project ordinance. It's okay to put it there, but yet it's not necessary to put it there. We don't need to repeat. If you're going to repeat that one, you need to repeat every one of those that she operates under. She must know that when she does that, because that's her procedure, and she looks like she's got at least 11 procedures she has to follow, she's got to report that to the board at the next board meeting. But I'm not, we're just doing something that's really not necessary, but I made the second and I'm prepared to vote for it, but it's an unnecessary step in my opinion.
Any other discussion or questions? Are we ready for the vote?
Yes.
All right, you've heard the motion. Madam Clerk, you've got the motion. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. We'll now move to agenda item number 9, County Capital Project Fund Ordinance. Ms. Stanton will present the request.
Okay, this is the project ordinance for the senior center expansion. As you will see on the project ordinance itself, it's $2.5 million from general fund appropriation and $475,000 from the rural infrastructure grant we received. And then the expenditures are broken down to equal the revenue side.
Any discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Howell?
Don't mean to repeat here, but it's the same process for this one as well. It needs to be added to number 6 to reflect and have consistency, to reflect our budget process.
Other discussion or questions?
Naturally, I disagree with what Mr. Howell just said, but because it's an unnecessary step, and we're going to have to do this many times throughout the year, and it's in her operating procedure, that should satisfy the board that she's going to follow her operating procedures without putting that or many others in there each time.
Other discussion or questions? Commissioner Howell?
Question for the attorney, sir. If this language is not in the ordinance, is it binding, or does it have to be in this ordinance to be a binding local ordinance?
It will be binding if it's in her operating procedure. If she's acting outside of the authority granted to her by the board.
So if it's in the operating procedure that was voted on last year, why wouldn't it reflect it in each ordinance? Why do we put part of the terminology in there, but not all of it?
I would have to, I'll have to get back to you on that. I mean, I'll have to look at the operating procedure and see how it's stated. But I mean, she has the authority to act under the authority granted in the operating procedure.
Correct, and we're not
She
challenging
cannot
that.
exceed that authority.
Right.
And so if she has that authority and can't exceed that authority, then that's what she's bound by.
So I guess my question in simple terms is, what's the point of putting Section 6 in there if we don't state it as it is written in our procedures already? Why would we only include part of the procedure? Why not leave it all out if it doesn't have to be in there, if it's in our operating procedure already?
Would any other questions or discussion? Would we be best to deal with these ordinances today and address that issue in the motion? And that would give the attorney time to go back and look at it and determine what, if anything, else is needed going forward? Is that a fair approach? So we don't,
That would be fine as far as I'm concerned, and I can get with finance as well to see how they've traditionally
because
been handled.
either way we do it today, it's probably going to be okay, but that would kind of confirm what we need to do going forward.
Either way we do it today will be okay. I mean,
Okay.
I would assume that Section 5, Section 6, and Section 7 are all covered by our procedures, our county operating procedures, and just that this is just traditionally how they've been stated in the ordinances. But I can do some research on that when I have the opportunity to do that and get back with the board on it.
And just let the record reflect that he's going to do that research and provide that feedback to the board. Any other discussion or questions for staff? Commissioner Harrington?
Well, I'm going to just say this, that basically I think Mr. Howell is asking that whole statement be in every ordinance. So it's a matter of just placing that whole sentence that's in the ordinance in there, in each one of the change orders when we come before us, I guess.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrington. Any other discussion or questions? So, Commissioner Howell, do you want to make the motion?
I would make a motion that we go ahead and approve this with the amendment of the additional verbiage. The county manager may approve change orders up to $25,000 per occurrence within a budgeted project with an official report to the Board of Commissioners.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Harrington. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Davis?
I will not be able to vote for the motion as stated, nor would I be able to vote for it because I think we got it out of order. As I stated in my concern with the budget itself, we are approving a budget ordinance for a project that has not been completely designed yet, it has not been bid yet, we don't know the amount of it yet, but yet we're doing a project ordinance for an amount to be determined at a later date, and that concerns me as well as the procedure by which we are doing it under. Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion or questions before we vote? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no.
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 All right, let's do it by show of hands. All in favor of the motion indicate by raising your right hand. All opposed to the motion, raise your right hand. Be a 4-3 vote in favor. All right. Ms. Stanton, we'll move now to agenda item 9A, which has been added. I think that's correct, Madam Clerk. Yes, sir. Capital Project Ordinance Closeout Middlesex Corporate Center, Shell Building Number 2.
Correct. This is just the closeout of the project.
Any discussions or questions for staff? Commissioner Davis?
Are we sure we hadn't already done this?
It was prepared. I'm not sure it was ever presented.
Okay. I don't guess it would hurt to present it again if we have, but I do feel like we've already approved this.
Right.
But-
I could not find where it had already been approved.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other questions or discussion? Any other questions? Hearing none, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Davis, there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilkins. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Take care of 9A. We will move now to agenda item number 10. Ms. Stanton will present a request, Sheriff Vehicle Project Ordinance.
The Sheriff's Office was awarded $420,000 from the NC State Budget of Management for fiscal year '24. The project ordinance was approved by the Board of Commissioners on May 6, 2024. Grant funds were awarded for vehicles and vehicle upfit. Interest earnings for this grant have not yet been spent. This allocates the remaining interest earnings in the amount of $1,173 back to this project to be used as outlined in the scope of work for the grant.
Any discussion or questions for staff? Any questions? Hearing none, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Howell. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Move now to agenda item 10A. Let me pull it up here. Is that correct? 10A, before we go on now? Fund
So it's
80.
actually number 11, the budget amendments. This replaces, 10A is going to replace 10 in your budget amendments.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. So we'll move to agenda item number 11, budget amendments. So you're saying this 10A that was left at our table is going to replace 10 in the budget amendment?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, go ahead, Ms. Stanton.
All right, so budget amendment number 1, human resources, appropriate $1,030 to Human Resource Department for additional salaries, retirement FICA that we're going to be a little bit short on. And these budget amendments, for the majority of the budget amendments, are to make sure that we are not, we don't have any findings in the audit. It's just to make sure that we're covered for audit findings.
Are you going through all the budget amendments?
I can.
If
You want me to
have-
do all of them?
If you have any questions, would you like to ask them as we go through it or wait till the end? Is everybody good with waiting till the end? Go ahead, Ms. Stanton.
Okay. The second one is for animal control. There was an employee that resigned, and we had to pay out overtime and vacation. This was not included in our budget when we originally did it, so it's a fund balance appropriation of $11,100. Number 3 is for social services. We got the Medicaid single county audit back, and this is to cover the cost of that audit, the overpayment of $25,000, and it's not coming from fund balance. Number 4, highway safety grant. This is additional funds to cover salary and benefits in that department. What happened is it was budgeted as regular officers, but since within the year, they have been renamed as senior or master, so which increased their salaries. Number 5, this is debt lease liability. There's a new, well, it's not new, but it's a GASB 87 where we have to recognize all the leases that the county has signed, and this is, it doesn't touch fund balance. It's just an internal, on paper kind of adjustment that we need to make. Number 6 is also the same thing, except instead of leases, it's a subscription. So all the subscriptions for the county have to be recognized and recorded. No fund balance. Number 7, county capital improvements. This is to carry over the funds from capital improvements from last year. That budget amendment was never done for the capital improvements that were not finished last year. Those funds were not carried over into this year. So this is just to move those funds over for those projects that were approved but not funded in this year. Number 8 for inspections, $200,000 from the inspections reserve for new vehicles and vehicle maintenance and taxes and tags. Number 9, non-departmental. This is to appropriate fund balance for pre-65 retirees' unemployment and insurance claims. This is to make sure that we have enough for any outstanding claims that we will pay in June that we have not received invoices for, to make sure we don't have an audit finding. Number 10, this is where 10A comes in. This is for Fund 80 and 85. This is all of our claims for retirees, unemployment, and workers' comp. We have a separate fund for them. And so this is going to appropriate fund balance, $32,000 for the retirees and unemployment, $750,000 for the workers' comp claims from fund balance. We haven't had any huge payouts yet this year, but we've had a lot of claims be paid out. We are waiting for a couple of closeouts that may hit us this year. Number 11, senior services. This is HCCBG grant. This is for funding just to move some funds from the revenue to the expense so that they can pay some invoices. Number 12, farmers market. This is just moving money from the revenue from the farmers market into salaries and travel and training. Number 13, compensated absences. This is a new GASB requirement where we have to make sure there is enough money to cover the liability for any vacation, sick time, and compensation, comp hours, if employees are to leave. Number 14, the ROPE is, this is correct in a previous budget amendment that was done months ago, where the fund balance was removed. It was not transferred over. So we need to put the fund balance money back into this ROPE account so we can pay the invoices. And number 15, the senior center project. This is along with the project ordinance. This is to take fund balance appropriation and transfer it into the project for the senior center.
All right, do we have any discussion or questions for staff on any of the budget amendments? Commissioner Davis?
Sorry, but I do have quite a few.
Fine.
If we go back to item number 2, you had a couple of times where you said that you were having to take money out of fund balance to put in this particular case, an employee that left to cover vacation time. Why would the funding not be in that budget to cover that vacation time, and would it have been there if the employee stayed the whole year?
So with vacation time, employees in December have to take their vacation accruals down to 240 hours. So in December, we take it down to 240 if it's over that. And then through the year, we earn on top of 240. We don't budget a payout of all of those funds for a year's time. So when an employee leaves and we need to pay it out, generally, we don't have an issue if it's in a department with, they may have some lapsed salaries to be able to take care of that expense. But in a department the size of animal control, there were not enough lapsed salaries available to compensate for that full payout of the hours that we were paying out for their vacation.
Okay, understand.
Okay.
Okay. I would think we would want to cover that 240 hours if it indeed is sitting there in that budget, but that can be for another day. Highway safety grant, fund balance appropriation. I think I understand that. I know we pay a part of that, and we had a person that was in one of those positions that apparently got moved to a different position that costs more money. Therefore, we got to make up the difference because we didn't have the same that amount of money in there for our part that was paid.
Correct.
Does the highway safety grant cover that part that they were paying? Let's say they were paying half, we were paying half, or do we have to cover the whole increase in salary?
The grant is for a certain amount, and anything that we're paying our staff above and beyond that, that's our responsibility.
Thank you.
So if they move to a higher rank in pay during the year, that's what we're realizing here.
Okay, understand. Item 5, you talked about GASB 87, and it went into effect in 2022. So we knew that each year after that, we haven't been seeing this in these last budget amendments on the last month of the year. What is it that different that makes us have to make this adjustment in it this time, when we've known this from 2022?
So it should be every year that we add new leases or
Right.
subscriptions
Okay.
that we have to make these entries, and we don't always know what we're entering into and how much it'll be until we do the calculations at the end of the year. And this was one of the reasons we had a finding at FPIC on the last audit.
So this would be caused by a new lease, not an existing lease?
Correct.
Okay, I understand that, thank you. You mentioned that under item 6, it was not a lease, it was a subscription. Can you explain to me what the difference in those two are? And under your first item, you say other finance and sources leases.
So they're all in the same other finance and sources account, but these are called Sabitas. So these are subscription-based IT agreements. So these are any IT agreements that we enter into that are subscription-based, based on, so it's not a long-term lease. We could do it by month, we could do it for 12 months, and then, pay for the next year as we go.
Understood, thank you. Under item 7, you got a rather large fund balance appropriation at this point in time, a little over $500,000. Walk me through that, why we have this at the end of the year, pulling out of fund balance, this amount of money.
So these are FY24 projects
Correct.
that were not finished,
Right.
and the money was not moved over from '24 into '25. And so I have a list of those projects, and the total that comes to the $540,000.
So in reality, should the fund balance have been handled last year and moved forward? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, it should have been earlier on this year, in July or August, it should have been moved over into this fiscal year, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So moving forward, we shouldn't see one like this again?
Not at the end of the year, yes, sir.
Okay. Maybe Mr. Boone or maybe you, what is an inspection reserve account? I didn't know we had an inspection reserve account.
So the fees that we charge for inspections can only be spent on certain items, and that is in the inspection department.
Gotcha.
So we have to put those to the side. They can't be included with anything else. So we do have a reserve of those funds.
So we are carrying that reserve forward each year,
Yes,
if there's money left.
yes, sir.
So we are charging enough permit fees to pay for the whole inspection department and have more money left over than what it takes to do that.
No.
All right.
No.
Who said no?
I said no. No, so the budget for the inspections department is part of our general fund budget, like other departments, but their fees that they collect are put in a reserve fund. So when we talk about fund balance, this would be part of a reserved fund, not part of unassigned. It's assigned to our inspection reserves and has to be spent on items in the planning and inspections department. And that's why we are pulling these funds out to spend on vehicles in that department. The department does not collect enough in permits and fees to sustain the department,
Okay,
like our Register of Deeds does.
right.
It doesn't happen like that in inspections and planning.
Well, it sounds like that's what we were saying here. But if you say it's not, that's something I could study later. And I'm not questioning buying the vehicles, because I know we need new vehicles in that department. No
Right.
question about that. I can better understand that on my own. A little later, I'll may call you about it.
Sure.
Item 10, if you could, fund balance appropriation $337,500, which is a rather large amount of money. Again, I'm just not used to seeing these kind of funds at our last meeting coming out of our fund balance. Tell me what that one is about.
So we have what's called IBNR, where we have to estimated payouts. We have to make sure that we're covered for any upcoming claims that come out. So that's 9 and 10 will cover any increases. This also pays for our deductibles on vehicles, liability, and property. So you have liability, property, and workers' comp included in this, as well as unemployment and pre-65 retirees. And it's just, we paid out more than what we budgeted, and so we need to make sure that we can cover those June claims.
Okay. Well, what's happened in the past, and what I'm used to, is we would see this a couple times during the year in smaller increments when finance realized that they weren't going to get to the end of the year. But I do understand why we'd be pushed up against a wall this year with the change in personnel there, but just a little surprised at that amount of money. Are you not saying the same thing for 10, the last item, workman's comp claims, $335,000 fund balance appropriation? What is the difference between these two numbers?
So the first one, number 9, is basically the premiums and deductibles. The second one, number 10, is for our actual funds where we pay claims out of. 10A, sorry. This is where we pay our claims. So we have some outstanding workers' comp claims, and
10A is replacing 10 in your original set.
Right. So instead of 335, it's 750,000.
Correct.
I'm getting better all the time.
Yes.
So we really got to take $750,000 out of fund balance to pay potential workman's comp claims.
We need to have it there to ensure that we don't end up in a situation where we have an FPIC at the end of the year with our audit. We do not anticipate spending that full amount.
and anything unspent will go back into fund balance. This is just to make sure that we're covered for the audit.
Okay with 11, okay with 12. Again, under compensated absences, Madam Manager, could you tell me again why we don't have that covered in that budget for those salaries? You got $50,000 salaries full-time expenditure.
And that,
So these are just for the enterprise funds?
These are for the enterprise fund.
Correct. And it's just a new standard that GASB wants us to report to make sure that we have enough money to pay those out as liability.
First time we've had to deal with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. $14, you stated, was just something that we did not correct previously that we are correcting now.
Correct.
Okay? And, of course, I know what 15 is, and I've stated my issues with that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You done, Mr. Davis? Other questions for staff? Any other questions for staff? All right, without objection, we'll vote on all budget amendments with one motion. Is everybody good with that? All right, hearing no objection, we've got 15 budget amendments. Is there a excuse me, sir?
I would prefer to have item 15 voted on individually, if the board does not mind.
All right, we'll pull 15 and vote on it individually. We're voting on 1 through 14. Is there a motion for approval of these budget amendments?
So moved.
Move approval.
Moved by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Belfield. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Those amendments are approved. Now we will go to amendment number 15. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved, sir.
Moved by Commissioner Howell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Belfield. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
No.
That motion passes on a 6-1 vote.
And I'd like it fully understood in the record that I'm not against the addition to the senior center. It's just the timing of the project ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Good
Thank you.
job. Thank you, Mr. Stanton.
thank you.
Now we will move to agenda item number 12, the FY26 budget ordinance. Call on the county manager to present the budget ordinance.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
On June 2nd, 2025, the budget message was presented to the board and the public hearing was held. The FY26 recommended budget prioritizes employee wages and merit pay, capital projects and infrastructure needs, replacement of technology, equipment, and vehicles, safety and security enhancements, and a conservative approach to spending. The final budget for consideration today has all of the items presented to you during the budget message on June 2nd, 2025. No new items have been added since your June 2nd board meeting when we held the public hearing. The total general fund budget for fiscal year 2026 is $128,123,693. The overall budget, which includes the general fund, enterprise funds, special revenue funds, and internal service funds, is $146,445,372. This fiscal year 26 budget maintains a tax rate of 63 cents, which was established last year. Although this budget does not meet all of our needs, I'm proud that it continues to address our employees' compensation and benefits that will retain and attract talented professionals. This budget, as presented here, is sustainable as we move forward. Significant consideration was placed on identifying recurring expenses versus one-time expenses so that we could say with confidence that this budget can be maintained in future years. The recommendation is for the adoption of the FY26 budget ordinance, which is in your budget packet.
Any discussion or questions for staff on the budget ordinance? Commissioner Davis.
Go ahead.
Mr. Bellfield's welcome to go first.
Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
I have let the board and the staff know previously that I do not support this budget. I have pointed out why I do not support it. We were asked in the beginning to identify 5 things that we would like to see in the budget, which I did. Those 5 things were to hold a flat budget, or one that may possibly be lower than last year's if possible. Do not add any more capital projects that are not already on the list. Naturally, raising property taxes out of the question. Adopt a budget with no fund balance appropriation to balance the numbers, and take a conservative approach to our entire budget until we learn more about the new administration is going to look like as it relates to established revenue streams that we are accustomed to having. Unfortunately, we did not do any of these things, and I'm not criticizing anyone, but there in itself makes me very leery of the budget. My main concerns are in the order. We're using opioid settlement funds for staff salaries, when I thought we all had agreed that we would not do that. That concerns me tremendously. We have got it not a large amount, but irregardless, over the next 18 years, we will not get anywhere near the funding that our citizens take to have this issue in Nash County. Number 2, we are changing projected property tax collection rates from a very long-standing conservative 97.5%. In addition to that, we are changing our numbers on several other revenue streams from our conservative numbers that we have used in the past. We are being asked to borrow $13 million for capital projects, and the number used in the budget is as per the Davenport study that shows borrowing to be done over a 20-year term. I realize we can adjust this later when it actually comes in, but the other thing that bothers me about this projected revenue borrowing is the fact that we are adopting a budget that does not cover any debt service to cover this, simply by saying we're going to borrow the money this year because we're going to have to award the projects, but we're going to delay for a full year making any interest payments or any payments against principal, which it only adds tremendous more cost to the taxpayers. To borrow the $13 million, if indeed we get the 5% rate that is projected, and I do feel that rate is pretty conservative in what we will get, but if we borrow it for 20 years, we'll be paying back $32.7 million A lot of that caused by us not doing anything during that first year, just to push, in my opinion, the payment schedule into another fiscal year beyond the one that we are currently doing now. A couple of other things that we've done that bother me, just to hold our fund balance appropriation down as low as it is, even though I hoped it would be nothing, is we did in this year's budget make an adjustment to purchase the church, which was fine. This board made the decision, and I totally agreed with it, that we should do some capital projects with fund balance appropriations. And then the item that we did today, which was to do a project audit for a project that is still in the design stage, and no one yet knows what the cost will be. And I feel like we did that just so it wouldn't be a charge against fund balance appropriation during the next budget cycle. And accumulation of those things and some other small things, it just leaves me in a position where I can't get to my threshold of 85% approval rate of the budget. And I do apologize to the staff for feeling that way and the board for not being able to support it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Other questions for staff or comments? Commissioner Belfield?
There are a couple of concerns I have in here in connection with funding outside agencies. And we've cut some, and then we funding the agency that's in another county, even though they will be working with identified constituents in this county, but they specifically name a race, and that bothers me. And the other thing that bothers me is that we're leaving the school system flat the way we budgeted them in the past. And I also concerned about the bus drivers, the amount of money they are paid per hour. They don't make that many hours a day, so the salaries are kind of low, and interest rates for borrowed money is going up, and food prices are going up. And if they're renting or have a housing loan, if it's not locked in, the interest rate's gonna go up there. And I just think that the school system needs to take a look at certified and uncertified, and look at those salaries and think about the cost of living and everything. And that is a concern I have, but I'm not going to try to derail this budget for those issues, because I know with the school system, we can amend it along the way. And that's one thing that pulled me to not vote against this budget. And but I'm going to be surely, when we fund outside agencies next year, that I'm going to bring this up.
Thank you, Commissioner Belfield. Other questions or comments for staff? Commissioner Wilkins?
Mr. Chairman, I ask the board to bear with me. At our past meetings this month, this board took a consensus vote on items of concern to individuals on this board. That consensus vote was to see where we stood and to hopefully change minds of members on this board. Although little was changed, if anything, I am prepared to make 2 motions today after completing my forethoughts, simply because taking a census is not an official vote, and I want it noted that we took an official vote on the 2 items that concern me the most. On June 9th, the county manager and deputy county manager met with Superintendent Steve Ellis and staff to discuss questions from this Board of Commissioners. In regard to classified employees and their salaries, it was stated that they are funded across many funding sources. In other words, state, local, federal, child nutrition, and donations and grant funding. According to what was told to our staff, there are 759 permanent classified employees, although that number may fluctuate. When the superintendent was asked his thoughts on county commissioners providing a bonus to classified employees with the school system, it was told to us in an email that they, the Nash County Public Schools, would be grateful for the $500 bonus for each classified employee, but would recommend a greater amount if this is going to be a one-time bonus, as the state gives a new recurring supplement to the certified staff that equates to over $2,000 annually. My thoughts are, and considering the superintendent's suggestion for a greater amount, and to satisfy those on this board that do not want to come to a decision until after the state legislature votes on a state budget, I say to you, this board has the authority to vote to give them a bonus now, regardless of what the state does, and to deny the classified workers a bonus of $500 that would only cost this county about $379,500 is a small price to pay to show them the respect and appreciation they deserve. It was said in a previous meeting, the board can go back and do a budget amendment even after the budget is approved and allocate a bonus or even a second bonus more than the $500. I am prepared to propose at this time. The time is now. Information has been brought to us about what bus drivers in other counties make. No one sitting up here can live off what these bus drivers or classified workers in Nash County make an hour. Furthermore, when schools are closed for inclement weather or whatever, many are not getting paid for the hours lost. This county would suffer greatly if we were to lose even more classified workers because this board failed to recognize their worth and their importance. And with that said, Mr. Chairman, and for the record, that this is not a consensus vote, I make a motion to add an amount equal to $500 per classified employee of Nash County Public Schools to the Nash County annual budget to be allocated to Nash County Public Schools for the specific purpose and function of the bonus, which shall be allocated per North Carolina General Statute 115C-4, I believe it's 29, is smeared. And I believe our attorney can quote that statute if it's needed. And I don't know how you want to do this, Mr. Chairman. That is my first motion that I ask. I have one more. Would you like me to continue?
Hold right there. Ask the attorney, I've got a motion from the commissioner. I don't see anything I can do other than call for a second.
That's correct.
All right, everybody's heard the motion from Commissioner Wilkins, and we'll call for discussion if we get a second. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Belfield. Open it up for discussion. Any commissioner have any comments? Commissioner Howell.
I'm in support of giving a bonus here if the state is not going to give them a supplement or an increase in that. And that's what I understand in speaking with the staff here for the county, that our manager went back and had a meeting, and they indicated that the recommendation of the school board was to wait until the state budget passed, and then we would come back and revisit this topic. Because I'd hate to give them $500 and it not be enough when we may need to do $1,000. I mean, I don't know until we know what the state does. So that's my concern is making sure that, and we got to keep in mind what we do for the classifieds, and then what does the state do for the certified? I mean, do we need to look at both or neither based on what the state does? Definitely, we're in challenging times with inflation going up and, cost of things, and the pay has got to adjust accordingly, not just in this field, but in all fields to compensate everybody for the changes in society. So definitely would support this, but I'm under the impression that based on the school board, we were advised to hold off until after the state made a decision, they got that. And did I miss something else?
Well, I'm sorry, but you're saying the school board, and I did not speak with the school board. I spoke with Dr. Ellis, the superintendent.
Okay.
It was the superintendent's recommendation that we wait
Okay.
and see what happens with the state budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or discussion? Commissioner Davis?
As I stated previously, my concern with this motion is going to be, again, that I feel like it puts us in a position where we're entering into the business of the school board and the decisions that they make. We should be allotting funds that this board feels comfortable in allotting, and the school board needs to designate where those funds go. It's not a job of this board to allot funds other than capital projects. And I'm still of the impression that we can't do that, but even if we can, it's not the proper thing to do. And our relationship with the school board is so good at the present time, has been for several years. I'm just hesitant to do anything that would change that relationship that we currently have, and I just think we should not be getting in their business, how they spend their money. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Other comments, questions? Commissioner Arrington?
Okay. Well, back to, one of the original questions is the budget itself, and my concern has been about the level of funding that we are doing for our public education system. And right now, as we slice our expenditure pie up, there's 20% for education, which includes our community college, and also 25% of our expenditure for human services, and public safety is 29.95%. Always thinking that we want to keep our public education funding aligned with our other pieces of pie that make up this county, our expenditures. Before the demerger, mostly what I heard was that we could do more for Nash County students if we didn't have Edgecombe County to try to pull along, that it might put a drag on them if we funded them more. And this year, look like we intend to fund them at the same level that we did last year. They lost schools, but we are not rewarding them for getting out of the low-performing school, the low-performing school era with the various schools that we have. So they've been doing well. And one of the things that I'm in support of supporting our security, the safety resource officers, and also technology that they have got involved with as far as giving the students the equipment, the computers that they need to continue performing well. And yes, we would like to support the classified workers, but at the same time, we need to support the public schools at a higher level so that they can take care within their budget the classified workers and their employees.
Thank you, Commissioner Arrington. Other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Just to clarify what Commissioner Davis said, we are not telling the school board what to do with the money we give. We can suggest, as you said yourself previously, that's why I quoted North Carolina General Statute, the number 115C-429. We can give them the funding, and they have to do it. That statute says they do it like the statute says and how they're supposed to. But you yourself said they have never varied from the county's suggestion. If we say we want to give this money, so much money for $500 bonus, they don't have to follow it? No. But will they? Probably. And so that's all I'm asking. That's why I said we follow the statute for the 500. My motion's on the floor.
Thank you. Other questions? Comments? All right, I'll just make a brief comment before we vote. I would be supportive of what Superintendent Ellis has recommended, that we wait until we see what the state budget's going to show us. And with that said, I would call for a vote on this matter. I'm going to do it by hand vote because I think it's probably going to be split. So all in favor of the motion made by Commissioner Wilkins, please raise your right hand. Thank you. All opposed to that motion, raise your right hand. Motion fails on a 5-2 vote. Commissioner Wilkins, you want to move to the next item?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Erickson?
Well, I would like to make a motion that we approve the $500 bonus to the classified employees contingent upon what we know that the General Assembly is going to do as far as funding. As Commissioner Howard has stated.
Commissioner Howard, you want to restate your comments? Because I think your comments were that you wanted to wait to see what that showed before we did anything to act on this.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I think that we have to wait until the state makes a decision on what, if any, percentage of increase they're going to give. And if they don't give any, then obviously I think we need to contribute, and I would support and be willing to do that and support that initiative. So I don't know if they're good. If the state gives some, then our bonus may not be as much. If the state gives nothing, then we may have to give more.
Would you be agreeable to wait to see what comes next from the state before we lock ourselves into something like that?
Well, I guess the whole contingency is that if we can agree to give something.
Mr. Chair.
Hold on a minute, Commissioner Wilkins.
And basically what that motion would say is that contingent upon what the state does, we should be able to give something. I'm not sure whether it be $500, $200, or like you said, $1,000. But basically I'm stating that the board would agree to give something. And we would set that amount once we know what that could be.
Other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on a minute. I'll get to you. Other questions?
It is another question.
Wait a minute, Commissioner Wilkins. I'm down on this side of the aisle. I'm coming your way. Commissioner Davis.
Are you asking for questions on his proposed motion?
On what Commissioner Erickson is saying.
I would question that motion is significantly different from the motion we've already voted on, and would ask the attorney to rule if it's significant difference enough to be able to take another vote at this meeting, is my first question I'd like to have answered.
Do you mean significantly the same?
Significantly the same, that is correct.
Correct. I would agree. I would agree with that motion is no different than Commissioner Wilkins' motion.
Or not significantly different than Commissioner Wilkins' motion unless it's restated.
Well, she had a specific amount. I didn't specify a specific amount.
I'm not sure that motion, I'm not sure that you're voting on anything at that point in time.
Well, my motion was that the board would agree to give the classified workers a amount based on the fund, as we determine what the funding is from the, I guess, from the General Assembly and what we can actually give. So, as a county manager, and as we understand, we don't know what that might be. Also coming from the superintendent, we don't know what that might be. So, my motion is about giving not a specified amount, but it's an unspecified amount. I know it sounds confusing, but
I would discourage that. I obviously can't speak for the board, but I would discourage voting on an
Unspecified amount, because I would discourage that binding. What implication does that have on binding the board? But again, I can't speak for the board.
Commissioner Wilkins?
I was just going to say, Commissioner Arrington did specify an amount. He said $500. And I agree with Commissioner Davis. I feel like he was stating exactly what I said, that offer to give 500, we vote to give 500, and then if we need to come back at a later date after the state legislature rules on their budget, we could increase it again if we so chose to. And so that's the only clarification I want to make.
Was that the motion?
Hold on a minute. Commissioner Howell, I'll come back to you.
Question for our legal counsel. Since I'm the new guy, you hit me out. Can a motion be made that we pull this topic back up for discussion once the state passes their budget and it's determined whether or not a salary increase has been given without naming a specific amount?
There was a motion on the floor that was seconded and paid.
For a specific amount today?
For a specific amount.
That was by Commissioner Wilkins.
Correct.
There was a proposed, another one, and you indicated that there was not advised if we do that. So my question is, can we bring up a motion without setting an amount, that the topic be placed back before this Board of Commissioners to be reviewed and voted on once the state has passed their budget?
I would think that that's an unnecessary action at this time because any commissioner has the right to bring a motion on, before the board at any time. So any of you would have the right to bring a motion before the board once the state has passed the budget.
And I think we've been very clear that we would revisit anything related to the school system after the state budget passes.
And each of you would have the right to bring that motion up.
Okay, if we are all in agreement with that, I will withdraw my motion.
Well, I think that's what we've said all along. I think that's what Dr. Ellis recommended. Is that a fact, County Manager?
Correct.
So are you withdrawing your motion?
I'll withdraw the motion as long as the board considers it. We're going to revisit this once that budget is passed.
Well, we will.
All right.
All right. That motion's been withdrawn. Who seconded that motion? No one? Okay, so that motion's been withdrawn. All right, are we ready to move to the next item on Commissioner Wilkins' list?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My next motion concerns outside agency funding. I want to make clear before I state the motion that it has been said up here by a fellow commissioner and by a staff member that there are two agencies in Edgecombe County that receive funding from Nash County when I raised opposition to Casa Azul de Wilson receiving $10,000. Again, I want to be clear that the two agencies in Edgecombe County are in the city limits of Rocky Mount. Were they not in the city limits and out in the county, say Tarboro area, I would be voicing the same opposition I am voicing to Casa Azul and those who brought these agencies up in that manner. I feel it was a cheap shot to give Nash County taxpayer dollars to a Wilson County nonprofit that they or someone they know may have an interest in. Not to mention that Casa Azul de Wilson only serves one ethnicity, one race, as indicated by their website and, as I have stated before, on the Secretary of State's website through paperwork they submitted. For the record, I want to make clear this is not a consensus vote, and therefore my second motion is that Casa Azul de Wilson be removed from outside agency funding and that the $10,000 allocated to them be divided equally among the lowest receiving 6 Nash County agencies receiving number one, $3,000 going to the Spalding Center. The other 5 are receiving $5,000. That would be the Wright Center, A Touch of the Father's Love, the Mercer Foundation, and Nash County Arts Center, as well as United Way North Carolina 211 program. So, Mr. Chairman, that is my motion that we remove Casa Azul from outside agency funding.
Is everybody clear on that motion? Everybody clear? Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Belfield. Any further discussion? We're going to do this by show of hands. All in favor of that motion, raise your right hand. All opposed to that motion, raise your right hand. Motion fails on a 5-2 vote. Thank you, Commissioner Wilkins, for your thoughts and input there. Back to you, County Manager, for the budget ordinance. Are we ready to, Commissioner Wilkins?
Forgive me, Mr. Chairman. I do have one other thing I want to say. In the email that Commissioner Davis sent out to us yesterday, I feel he has a valid point of concern of using opioid settlement funds for staff salaries. I agree that all the opioid funds should go to citizens in Nash County who are in need, with the exception of staff hired to run the recovery homes and shelters that may be used to facilitate recovery of those affected. I do not like the play of hand, on another note, that Commissioner Davis mentions in regard to using the fund balance, as it does reek of just that, a play of hand. To ask us to approve something so it will not show up in the budget this year, but will next year, just to balance this budget, does not sit well with me. And I just wanted to make that statement.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Wilkins. Any other comments or discussion? Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to take a moment and thank the county manager and all the staff, the department heads, for all the work they've done this year. I know it's been a challenge. It's been a lot going on. But it is our responsibility. We are in the service business. That's what we're here for. We're here to service the citizens of Nash County. So I just want to thank y'all for what y'all have done and the effort you put in. And, you know, I know this is an increase in the budget from the past year, but it's only a 2.37% increase in the budget, and that's the lowest we've had in the last 5 years. So I think that's an outstanding job on what y'all have done, and I support your efforts.
Other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Leggett?
Okay. First, I'd like to thank the county manager and your staff for your work on this budget. You all have worked diligently to listen to the departments, to listen to the commissioners, and provide a transparent process. You've worked to find money and to meet the needs, the many needs. There's some on this board that would like to see more on the budget, and some that would like to see less in the budget. But with the additional houses being built here and the needs, there are more services that must be provided. And I feel that the manager's done her best to address those needs. It's for these reasons that I support the budget. I think it's reasonable and does a good job of meeting our needs here. Thank you.
Other comments? Mr. Belfield?
Well, my concerns does not mean that the staff and the committee didn't work hard to come up with a good budget, which I want to commend them for that, because it takes time, and not only that, following ordinance and laws, state law and county ordinances. You've done a wonderful job in pulling this budget together and bringing it before us, and I want you to know that, even though I have those concerns that I've already stated.
Thank you, Commissioner Belfield. Other comments? So are we ready for the vote? All right, go ahead.
I do have a couple of comments.
And I do after you have your comments. I'd like to make a couple of comments.
And just for the board, the concerns that Commissioner Davis sent out last night, I do have a response for all of those, and I will forward those to you in an email. But in this setting, a couple of items that have been mentioned multiple times. The opioid settlement funds, we have said that we don't want to use opioid settlement funds for salaries for the administration of opioid settlement funds, in particular our assistant county manager position that was created specifically for us to get our funding plan in place and move that project forward here in Nash County. However, the funding that is being recommended for salaries is for staff that will have direct impact supporting the delivery of services to those affected by the opioid crisis. Service provision does not happen without the intervention of human involvement to realize successful outcomes. This does not happen without providing funding to support positions. The other item that I wanted to address was the $2.5 million that we have asked for a project ordinance in today's meeting, as well as the budget amendment for the $2.5 million. The reasoning behind bringing that to the board today, before we put the project out to bid and have final numbers on that project, is that is the single item that is not in your FY26 budget, nor is it in the bundling package of items that we plan to finance moving forward. That is a $2.5 million item that has not been mentioned as part of this process, and so we wanted to be fully transparent and bring that item to the board today to make sure that you're not forgetting that we wish to fund that $2.5 million from fund balance. I have asked our finance director, Nikki Stanton, to provide me with some information about where we stand on fund balance. We have realized over $6 million in collections of ad valorem taxes in our FY25 budget that we did not plan for. We've also realized an additional $1.4 million in investment income over what was budgeted, as well as $1.4 million over budgeted for collections from moving from one agreement to our newest agreement with Nash UNC. So in total, when you factor in the $2.5 million that we've asked you to allocate today for the senior center project, when you factor in all of the fund balance appropriations that you visited with Nikki and the budget amendments that we have asked you for today, and looking at fund balance that's being appropriated in this budget at $1.9 million, we have an additional, between those two, between those expenses and those revenues, we still have about $3 million being added back to fund balance. So I want this board to know that even on top of the spending that we're doing, the allocation of fund balance that we have been making, even in today's meeting and in this budget moving forward, we will be adding back to fund balance. And that's all I have, sir.
Okay, before I make my comments, does anybody else have any comments? Thank you, Madam Manager. Just briefly, I want to say as chairman, I've been committed throughout this budget process to transparency, fairness, and ensuring that every commissioner had the opportunity to be fully heard. This process started with meetings in March, followed by a public budget work session in April, other open budget meetings and discussions since April, as well as a public hearing at our June 2nd meeting. Concerns and questions were encouraged in each meeting, and many were raised, some more than once. I want to reaffirm that my role as chair has not been to push a personal agenda or try to control things behind the scenes, but to foster an open process where all voices are heard and the public can clearly see how we arrived at our decisions. We have a duty to our citizens to act with transparency, cooperation, and consistency. I remain committed to that responsibility and to leading this board in a way that reflects fairness and trust in the process we followed together. With that said, I call for a motion on the budget ordinance.
Second.
No, I'm asking for a motion on the budget ordinance.
I'll make a motion, sir.
To adopt the budget ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. Any further discussion? All right, we're going to vote by hands again since it possibly will be split. All in favor of that motion indicate by raising your right hand. That's 5 votes. All opposed? 5-2. The budget ordinance is adopted. Thank you, Madam Manager.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move now to agenda item number 13. board, committee, or special reports, and I'll call on Vice Chairperson Leggett to call for those reports.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Outlaw, and good afternoon. At this time, we will hear reports from commissioners on the boards or committees which they serve, and in the interest of time, if there's no significant items to report or the board has not met, you may simply indicate no report. So first, from District 1, I'll call on Commissioner Arrington.
Okay. My first committee is Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, and I attended meetings in April and May, and there is no real significant reporting other than we have various committees, community organizations that work on preventing juvenile crime. So attended that. And our capital project group committee, we canceled our meeting from our last, for this past month, so unless my other committee members have something to add, I will leave that. ARPA group, we have pretty much spent that funding, and I think our last meeting, we had some interest funding that we were going to allot to completing a water project in the northern section of the county. All right. Okay, Parks and Rec Committee, we have a meeting set for this week, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, no, I believe it's next week. Next week. So we'll get an update on what that is. Also, my new committee was the Gateway Technology Center Board. I attended a meeting in April and got introduced to the board members, and we have another meeting in July the 15th. Our Safety Committee, also we postponed that Safety Committee this past week. So unless my other committee members have something, I don't have anything on that. Also, the Home and Community Care Block Grant Committee, I attended that meeting, and that meeting was held in April, which we awarded, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we awarded 6 organizations with the senior citizen grants. And that's the conclusion of my report.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Arrington. Next, from District 2, Commissioner Belfield, your committee reports.
All right. The farmers market is moving along smooth and well. Each Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, Maureen is on air for about anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, telling what they have to sell and promoting it, which is a good thing and something that I had suggested way long ago, and now it's a weekly thing on radio for about 3 to 5 minutes. The Upper Coast Plain Council of Government, we meet tomorrow at 6 o'clock to finalize the fiscal year budget. And Tar River Transit, we were scheduled to meet last Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, and we did not have a quorum, so we had to reschedule that meeting. And the purpose of meeting was to approve the transit applying for grant money from the state as well as from transportation federal. And that meeting has not been rescheduled, but I expect it will be within the next 2 weeks, because they're going to have to get that information in. The city council, it's got to go before the city council. So the meeting will be scheduled somewhere within the next 2 weeks. And that is my report.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Belfield. And from District 3, Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, ma'am. The Volunteer Agriculture Advisory Board just met, and as was discussed at the meeting here, when we approved the farm preservation program to move forward, this group has scheduled a series of meetings to take place between now and this fall to go through the details so we can bring them back to the board to make you aware of the details of the program and hopefully get your support on this program so we can move forward. And that should hopefully take place sometime this fall. Don't have an exact date yet, and we're going to open this up. I think there's some different avenues is trying to get some more input in and make sure this program is customized to Nash County. And all the remaining boards, I think they've either been covered or we haven't had any activity.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Howell. Next, from District 4, I'll give my reports. First is from the UNC Nash Healthcare Board of Commissioners. I'll report on a couple of items, and then I'll let Commissioner Wilkins finish the report. UNC Health Nash recently broke ground on their new inpatient bed tower. Many of the commissioners here attended. The goal of this tower is to modernize care delivery and enhance operational efficiency. It'll be a 7-story state-of-the-art building on their existing campus. The full tower project is expected to receive approval by the Local Government Commission later this year and is scheduled to be completed in the fall of 2027. The next item you may have already seen in the newspapers. I know for sure if you read the Nashville Graphic, you've seen it. There will be a new medical office building constructed in the town of Nashville as well as Middlesex. Both of them will be primary care practices. The Nashville office will have space for up to 8 providers and an urgent care facility. The Middlesex office will also have space for 8 providers and additional space for future growth such as imagery. Both facilities are expected to be operational by late summer of 2026, so next year. The Natural Resources Resilience Committee most recently met on May the 8th. Nash County and the town of Nashville both reported on soil and water projects that are underway. One of the projects is Nash County Stream Rehabilitation, which will be cleaning up over 19,000 feet of Swift Creek. The Nash County Soil and Water Office has been very active with various outreach events, including a recent soil health event which took place on June the 5th. This committee is expected to meet again in September. I really don't have a lot to report on the farmers market as their advisory group has not met. I will report, though, that they do have summer hours. In the months of June, July, and August, the farmers market in Rocky Mount is open on Tuesdays from 3 to 6 and Thursdays from 12 to 5. And that's in addition to their Saturday hours from 8 to 1. And I do not have anything to report on the Capital Projects Committee. So at this time, we'll call on from District 5, Commissioner Outlaw.
Thank you, Commissioner Leggett. Following last month's meeting when we were supposed to provide committee reports, because of time, we didn't do it. So I sent my information to all the commissioners electronically or put it in your mailbox, so I have no changes to that information, and I'd be glad to provide that information to the media if you'd like a copy of it after this meeting. So that's all I have now.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Outlaw. Now from District 6, Commissioner Wilkins.
Thank you, Vice Chair Leggett. I attended the Governor's Roundtable on Medicaid in April. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein and Secretary of Health and Human Services Sangvi, I can never pronounce that, hosted a roundtable discussion at UNC Health Nash on the importance of Medicaid given the current threats to federal funding. Nash's CEO Lee Isley and primary care provider Dr. Joanna Dauber participated in the panel discussion, raising awareness of how critical these programs are for rural health care. The Nash leadership team is currently preparing a variety of operational plans in response to various scenarios that may play out in federal or state funding cuts. Also, in March, UNC Health Nash and OIC launched a new partnership, which you probably have already heard in the media, which brings a mobile primary care bus to neighborhoods and churches that most need improved access to health care based on hospital discharge data and community needs data. The OIC mobile unit offers essential health care services, including annual health screenings, physical exams, blood pressure checks, diabetes screenings, and chronic disease management. And Nash Healthcare is providing staffing support to allow the mobile unit to be out in the community on a frequent and consistent basis. And the program just complements UNC Nash's community paramedic program, which sends paramedics into homes of high-risk discharges throughout Nash County and beyond to ensure continuity of care beyond hospitalization. As Commissioner Leggett said, we broke ground on the tower. I attended that. The Northern Nash Fieldhouse ribbon cutting that took place. That was wonderful. Good to take a tour and see it. The Health and Human Services Board Animal Control Shelter is operating at less than full capacity, which is a good thing because it means more animals are being adopted. As of 4/22, and this is old too, no reported measles cases in North Carolina. There was an outbreak in some states, but we did have more TB cases had been reported over the last 12 months. And we swore in, Dr. Richard Michael was sworn in the April meeting, and Health and Human Services Board won't meet again until this month because we meet every other month. And we hope to bring some names forward to the July board meeting to fill some of the vacancies on that board. Nash County Economic Development Alliance did a video, Work in Nash food processing video done featuring First Wave Innovations. And the video just highlights food processing industry in Nash County. Also, the Alliance met to discuss child care needs and heard from Ted Abernathy and Casey Steinbacher with Economic Leadership LLC, who presented a slideshow and on better child care ecosystem and a strategic action plan to the Alliance and the community stakeholders that were also here. The plan provided the state of child care availability and affordability and the quality of child care in Nash County with strategies on how to address the challenges. And we look forward to, at a later date, as this project moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilkins. And finally, I'll call on Commissioner Davis from District 7.
Thank you, Commissioner Leggett. I'll only report on those committees I served that have not already had a report. First one is Tourism Development Authority. We did have our annual funding meeting on May the 13th. Meeting went very well. We had, if I recall correctly, 16 applicants. We were able to fund everyone that applied for a grant in some amount. A lot of them got what they asked for. Some of them were a reduced amount. We worked hard to get the total amount to not exceed what the projected revenue is for next year, which is what we were able to do. And we're having a lot of success with those agencies reporting back how they spent the money in a timely fashion and meeting the new criteria that our finance department has asked for. The High-Speed Internet Committee did have a meeting on May the 19th. Each commissioner received a report that looks like that in your box. It is very thorough, and if you have any questions about it after reading that, I'm sure you've all read it. It is still a challenging process to get rural internet throughout Nash County, but this committee is determined that we're going to do it someday, and it is, quite frankly, looking a little bit brighter, and I would encourage you to continue reading the updates that that committee gives, and if you have any specific questions, Emily would probably be the best person to ask those. Park Committee was mentioned when we have our next meeting. The capital project group, each time we meet, Mr. Boone gives a thorough report in your box, so I won't belay the meeting by going through those, but if you have any questions, you can ask Mr. Boone, of course, or either Marvin or Sue or myself. Economic Development Alliance, Commissioner Wilkins gave a great report on. The ARP, as Mr. Arrington said, is about closed out. The Trillium Health Resource Board that I now serve on, I have met with that board 3 times. We meet on the 4th Tuesday of every other month. It is a lot to learn. Quite frankly, I'm in a learning curve with those. They are board members from throughout all the counties in the eastern part of the state. The primary concern at this time, of course, is watching the state budget, but more importantly, watching the federal budget, seeing what changes are going to be made. We do know there are some cuts coming that will make us have to realign some of the programs that we're doing, but it is a great board to serve on, and as I continue to learn, I'll try to do a better job of reporting what goes on there. Of course, Dave Peterson comes to us once a year and catches us up very well on that. The Safety Committee, as was mentioned, was canceled at the request of the sheriff last meeting, and we'll be meeting pretty soon on that. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any commissioners that have any specific questions about the reports presented? Okay. If you think of something later, I would encourage you to reach out to your fellow commissioners individually, and want to thank you for your reports and commitment to Nash County. This is a non-action item, and I will turn the floor back over to Chairman Outlaw.
Thank you, Commissioner Leggett. I think that concludes our business for today. Before I go to a motion, I would just like to express my appreciation to the manager and the staff for the work you did on the budget. I think it's a good budget. I agree with you. It's not everything to everybody, but overall, I think it's a very good budget, and I appreciate the work that's gone into it. So with that said, is there a motion?
So
to
moved,
adjourn?
Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Arrington. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. All in favor indicate by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. We're now adjourned.